Hey guys, women, girls, boys, everybody, everybody. Okay, be okay with the time it takes, even though we want things done yesterday. I want things done yesterday. I was really clear about what I wanted to talk about, and then I sort of got distracted with all this other stuff, and so now I really don't I know what I'm going to talk about, but I'm also like, what's the real message that wants to come out right now today? If you've got questions, ask me a question about anything. I'm going to share this live stream whilst I wait for your questions, and once I share it, perhaps it'll drop in what I'm going to talk about, because I really wanted to talk about what it really takes to do and be and create and live your life purpose, and how many people give up when it gets hard, when it's, you know, whatever, right? And I really want to talk about that, because I think people forget that the overnight success that people see with people has been like 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, their whole life prior to that being successful. Now, what does successful even mean to you? Everybody's got a definition of a difference of success too, by the way. But I also feel there's another message that wants to come out, and I don't quite know what that is. So we're just gonna talk and see what comes out. And I'm just sharing this. I've got one more place to share this, and then we'll get into it. And if you have any questions, as I said, let me know. They say it's just before the breakthrough. Exactly right. Yeah, burnout. We can talk about burnout, because it's so funny, interesting. A lot of people think, oh, you burnt out. But the thing and the reality about burnout, sorry, I'm nearly there sharing this. The thing about burnout is it's like, I know it's been labeled burnout, but I've got a very different perspective on burnout, just like I've got a very different perspective on demons, darkness, entities, bad dark stuff. Like, you know what I mean? It's just unconsciousness. Whereas burnout is like, as you say, like it's just before the breakthrough. But the burnout is also about, like when we're creating something, it's like we don't realize when we expand. And I know it sounds ridiculous, right? When we're creating something and we're building something, we don't realize when we hit that expansion point. It's usually at those points where we want to give up. It is the breakthrough. It is the burnout. It is, you know, it's the expansion point, right? And the thing is that it's always the hardest just before the breakthrough. And if we look at that on a collective world scale about what we've been talking about on my live stream yesterday, for example, with all the earth stuff and the earth shifts and the consciousness shifts, and the last few years have been pretty hard for a lot of people, right? And they've also been like, especially even last year, like we thought 2020 was hard, but last year was pretty hard, yeah? Self-love is needed, yeah, for sure. Of course, there's a lot of factors involved when you're expanding to the next level, right? It's not just, oh, it's just this one thing. Usually when we're, you know, breaking through to a next level, it's like a, I don't know, a flower of things. Like if you look at a flower petal, like, you know, and you've got the inside of the flower and then all the petals on the outside of the flower, like all of these factors are relevant when you're pushing through to the next level, when you're expanding through to the next level, right? So, you know, the title of this live stream of, what did I call it? Hang on. Be okay with the time it takes, you know. The thing is that this conversation had been coming up in my private chats with my clients and with my private live streams and my groups that I've been doing recently. And it is something that I want to talk about, right? So, okay, starting to come through. So when we look at what it takes for someone to move into their life purpose in whatever realm that is, right? There's a certain amount of healing that happens before the expansion, before the breakthrough. And it's usually when we're like changing our life, changing our life, changing our life, changing our life. We're like, yeah, this is good. I'm like, so good. We're like onto this thing. We're like, yeah, it's like working for us. And then we hit this wall, we hit this plateau, we hit this wall, we hit this, what is it, right? And the thing is that we're changing our life and we're doing all the inner work and the spiritual stuff and the breath work and the ice bars and, you know, I'm doing it. Yeah, it feels great. And then we fucking hit this wall and we're like, woof, I don't want to do this anymore. What that is the breakthrough point. What that is all your subconscious stuff coming up to be healed. And if you don't see it like that, that's when you stop, right? There's only a certain amount of inner work that you can do before you need to do the deep work that's surfacing, right? Like in essence of like you're changing your life, your brain is rewiring, your cellular structure is rewiring. Of course, the energetics in your subconscious is shifting. And what you need to do is those deep wounds that come up, right, is because you're doing the work in the first place. It's more than just shadow work. It's way more than shadow work. Yeah? The deepest core wounds, the mother-father wound, the abandonment wounds, the betrayal wounds, the abuse of power wounds, right? The invasion wounds. Like, of course, there's many, right? And I teach about this deeply in trust intuition. It's what I do, right? It's what I do with my clients. It's what I do in teaching and training my students to become certified healers, because this stuff is what's missing on the planet. There's only a certain amount of plant ceremony medicines. There's only a certain amount of, you know, ice baths that you can do before the real work needs to be done. And that lives deep in the heart. It's called feeling, right? It's called feeling. There's only a certain amount of healing that you can do with meditating, you know, still mind meditating, ice baths, plant medicine, all that sort of stuff. Like, only gets you to a certain level. Sure, you feel great, you feel on fire, you can change the world, change your diet, you're like doing all this stuff. And then there's a breakthrough point. There's a breakdown point. There's a plateau. The deepest core woundings come up. We can sort of spin there for a little while because we don't know what else to do, right? There's always layers of the mother wound, the father wound. There's always layers of that, yeah? Always. But it'll hit a certain point in the timeline convergent point, right? Where the deepest core woundings will hit, yeah? And it's here that it'll feel like you're losing your mind, like you're going crazy. You'll be in a lot of fear with the world stuff. It'll be like rampant. It's all you can think about. Survival mode, escape mode. Gotta like pack up and leave, gotta get ready. Of course, we need to be ready, but when it's like obsessive fear, right? Or obsessive fear about the relationship broke up that you haven't got over yet. That's when the big shift is really there. Now, again, a lot of people don't know what to do with that because a lot of people aren't trained in that. A lot of people want to do the surface spiritual stuff. Right? I've been doing this since 2005. And this is what's missing on the planet, if you may, and or not everybody's ready for that yet. It's a big deal to face that. Yeah? So when we look at be okay with the time it takes, especially when you're on the entrepreneur journey, and whether you're not or you are, there will be a certain point in your healing journey, of your spiritual awakening journey, and everything's amazing, right? And then it'll just be like, You don't know what's wrong, you'll be depressed, feel like you're losing your mind, all that stuff. It's because the big stuff's coming up, and it's a bit like anxiety. Anxiety is that you need to cry. It's like so much energy, I can't. Panic attacks, it's like just fucking let the tears out and this will stop because your heart's just full and it needs to come out. Be okay with the time it takes is the reality that a lot of people miss. They think that, oh, I've been doing it for 3 months. Oh, I've been doing it for 5 years, right? Hasn't worked. I'm like, come back in 15, 20 years and tell me it hasn't worked. The thing about this work, the thing about consciousness, the thing about healing, the thing about spiritual awakening, all of that stuff, is the reality is that there is always layers. Now, we are not meant to heal forever. And what I mean by that is that we are meant to heal forever. In essence, that you can't stop consciousness awakening. You can't, you can't stop it. There's always layers and there's always levels. However, and you'll be going good, and then it'll be like, what? Even for like a year, 3 years, and you're like, what the fuck's going on with my life? You'll change things in your world and your business and all these things, and nothing really works, and you're still sort of going around this loop because you're hitting that plateau, you're hitting that deeper core wounding point. Yeah. So when you're at those points, this is the work that I do with my clients. People come to me for the deeper stuff, right? The deep stuff. I'm deep. That's who I am, right? Like, that's who I am. There is definitely more of us on the planet, but there's a lot of us on the planet who don't know how to use this deep skill. We just sit in the wounding of it. Nobody likes me. Everybody leaves me. Like all that core wounding, a lot of people are still in that. Sure, they might be good at really hiding it to society and turn up and do their thing. But deep down, that's what's going on. There's a lot of wounded healers doing the work. And it's not about, oh, you have to be perfect before you can do the work. I'll be the last person to tell you that. You heal by doing the work. You heal by stepping up. You heal by moving forward. Who here feels this? Who feels it? Healing takes time. When somebody starts working with me to figure out their life purpose, it's a good 3 years before we start to gain traction and clarity. It's definitely the first 18 months, 9 to 12, 18 months. So the first 9 months, usually deep healing. The first 18 months, right? So the next 9 months is usually like, oh, starting to feel a bit of like traction, cool. So much like hurt can come up, rejection, betrayal starts to really kick in because it's just started to go deeper, right? The first 18 months, hell. It's like, it's fine, but oh my God. And I hate you, Hannah. What are you doing? Like, want to leave? It all. I've seen it all. Right? After that 18-month point, oh, right, starting to gain traction, right? Oh, the actual like life purpose stuff starts to come in, and oh, I feel like I can start stepping out of my business. Oh, I start having clarity about that. Healing takes time. Finding, understanding your life purpose takes time. Are you ever like specifically so clear and oh my God, it's so clear and I understand what I'm doing? No. You'll have moments of that, and then the next day you'll be like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I'll step up and I'll talk and I still don't know what I'm doing. And I still don't know what I'm doing today. And I'm still doing a zillion different things. But there's always a core undertone of it. Yeah. But it's always evolving. It's always shifting. Always. And being okay with the time it takes, even though we want it done yesterday, is so important to remember the life part of your purpose. The life part of your purpose. Now, when people come to me for life purpose, mentoring, in the Life Purpose Accelerator, in my inner circle, whatever it is, right? Many times people come for healing to start, 100%. Some people come specifically looking for their life purpose, 100%. But, most time it's healing. And there is a level of healing that goes on before we become more psychic. Not become more psychic, before we understand and are clear in our psychic awareness and our intuitiveness. A lot of people know that they're psychic. A lot of people know that they're intuitive. A lot of people know that, they've got gifts, skills, they sense stuff, see ghosts, whatever, kind of frightens them. A lot of people know that, but a lot of people are not clear in it. And number one, it's training. Yeah. A lot of us know how to swim, but not many of us are Olympic swimmers. That takes training and dedication and diligence, usually every day. Right? Healing, a lot of us can have a cry and heal, kinda, a broken heart maybe, got over your ex, got over your relationship, whatever, still a lot of trauma there maybe, right? A lot of us know how to do that, but actual committing to healing takes time and dedication, right? It takes time. Healing takes time. Finding your life purpose takes time. Stepping onto your life purpose and living your life purpose for career or just enjoying your life again after years of heartbreak takes time, right? If you're 50 years old and you're like, what's my purpose and what am I doing and I'm so lost, right? It's like you've got 50 years, especially if this journey is new to you, you've got 50 years of unwinding, okay? Don't expect it to happen in 3 months. This is a long timeline compared to 3 months or 6 months or 12 months or a year. There's 50 years here. Be easy on yourself. Go gentle on yourself, right? Yes, you can like shift and change and everything, but I'm like, go easy on yourself, okay? And those people that you're jealous of or envy of or all those things of, like, have usually been doing it for a lot longer than you. Remember that. That's why you look up to them, right? They're leaders of their own kind. And you're becoming your own leader of your own kind. Be okay with the time it takes. Yeah? What else do I need to say about this? Okay, so when these fears are coming up of the world stuff, of AI, of robots, like, this is gonna happen to the world and it's gonna disintegrate the world. Like, the reality is that when like we're in a fear or something, there's a deeper trauma surfacing, and it's usually because you have been doing years and years of all this spiritual development, personal development, psychic work, you've done to retreats, you've done whatever, and all of a sudden you're like in this fear state and you can't seem to get out of it, right? That's because there's a deeper wound surfacing, because you've been doing all this for a long period of time. It gets to a tipping point that we spoke about yesterday, gets to a tipping point for yourself and your own life where the deeper stuff is ready to be worked on. Always remember that. You're not going crazy. You're not losing it. The next level is shifting and the deeper core woundings. This is what I do with my clients, okay? If you need one-on-one support and you're ready to book in to work with me as a client, to be my client, so that I can help you through this. This is what I do. I heal these very quickly, okay? My 30-minute psychic readings are available. I've got it available for this reason, because I can clear and get to the core of things very quickly, and you can usually shift them. And sure, there might be deeper work that you want to do on a longer term basis, but usually you come to me because you've been doing this work for a long time and you're like, what's going on? I'm losing my mind. And then I'm like this, and you're like, oh my God, and it just unlocks everything. Because I'm like the queen of timeline convergent points. I'm the queen of interdimensional shifts, generational past, like all things coming in, and I pinpoint and shift it very quickly. That's what I do. This is my gift. Okay, I see the threads leaning back to the core wound, we unpick it, and it either shifts really fast for you, or you're like, oh, that's what I needed, that clarity. You go off and do your own work, or you work with me on a longer basis. So I've got programs at all different levels. So my 30-minute psychic reading is $111 US. That's 30 minutes. You can have it audio recorded if you want it video recorded. We can work that out. But there's those calls. There's my 30-day programs, my 21-day programs, my 12-month programs. It just depends on the level of support that you're needing and willing to work. A lot of people do the once-off sessions and then they come in for a longer period. A lot of people are like, I'm ready for the longer period. So be okay with the time it takes. It's so important that when you are envious and looking at other people and you're like, oh my God, like what's coming up is you've reached that plateau, you've reached that point, you're ready to go to the next level. Like it's not about, it's not working. It is working because you've hit this wall, because you've hit this plateau, and you need the right guidance to be able to push through it. Sure, this live stream might be helping and you're just like, cool, I just need to keep going and push through it. Like you'll get it, right? Sometimes the deeper core wounds need support, yeah? Depending on your life, your history, what you've been through since childhood, etc., and childhood, of course. So any of those fears that are coming up, or your partner's going to leave you, or you're just in this fear, like you can feel it, right? Is what's happening is that 50-50 switch, right? You're about to flip. You're about to flip reality, because if you're here, you've usually been doing a lot of work, okay? People don't come to me. There's a lot of newbies that come to me for sure. I'm like the queen of helping people with their spiritual awakenings. I've got a whole website page of it. I've got a whole website of self-help that you can go through. I've got all the chakra consciousness there. There's so much support on my website that if you're not ready to work with me one-on-one, but you need something, go through and skim through my self-help page on my website, realityawareness.com. There's so much content there that if you actually take time to go through it and like use what you're intuitively drawn to, it will shift and help you. But it's so important to really keep going, just keep swimming, yes, and to understand that you wouldn't be at this point if you weren't ready for a breakthrough. You wouldn't be at this point if you were ready to shift to the next level. But a lot of people, it's confronting to face, and a lot of people don't shift. They stay where they are. Why? Because the whole reality would change. Sometimes they need to leave an unhealthy, toxic relationship and they can't for whatever reason, right? Sometimes their career path would change. Some people are fucking ready for that because they're so fed up. Yeah? I catch people at the recalibration point. You're not lost, you're recalibrating. You're not stuck, you're plateauing because you're about to have a big breakthrough. There's deeper stuff surfacing that is just ready to clear out of your energy field, which is why you've been doing all the work in the first place. Keep going. Can't stress it enough. Self-help tools are awesome and super helpful. There's a lot of content on there. There's a lot of help. Pauline says, I'm stuck with temptation. Okay, that feels like the message. If you want to work one-on-one with me, send me a private message, or my dedicated program. I've extended that for another until Wednesday afternoon, Australian Eastern Standard Time. So maybe Tuesday night if you're on the other side of Australia. I'm in the other side of the world. That is dedicated, is my 8 weeks. Like if you're ready to just go deep, like, and you're like, I need the breakthrough, like this is what I've been waiting for, then this is the program, the dedicated 8 weeks. We do Zoom calls every week. Like it's pretty full on, right? But there's 8 weeks for a reason, because we're going deep through each of the chakras. We're going to clear, activate, realign, and come out the other side with the breakthrough that you've been looking for. That's dedicated. I'll pop the link in on here now for you as well. It's interesting when you said, Pauline, I'm stuck with temptation. Like, I don't know what temptation means to you. I don't know what your story is. I don't know your situation or any of that. Obviously working one-on-one, this is the stuff we go into detail of. But, you know, when I hear that, I'm stuck with temptation, I'm like, actually, you're either, number one, bored with your life, bored with your relationship, or it's an unhealthy situation that you need to leave. And the temptation is like showing you the life that you could live, and or that you've got some inner work to do. All of the above. I just figured out what you meant by ancient blooded healers. A bright light flipped on my mind. Bing, ding, there we go. I've been working on something really big, guys. I'm so close. I'm so close to finishing it. Who knows what it is? That's why I've really been here, because I've been working on it. I'm so fucking close. But every time I'm so close, all this more stuff comes out and I'm like, I thought I was nearly finished. No, there's more. There's more. The more I write, the more I write. Yeah, I've been working on my book. It's so close. I'm so close. I'm so close. But the more that comes out, I'm like, I thought this was the last chapter. No, I'm like, this does need to go in there. I'm like, okay, fine. I'm like, it's coming, it's coming. It's so close. So close. Okay. So I've popped dedicated in. The link is there. I'll just pin that to the top of the comments now. It is on my page. You can send me a private message. We can chat about it if it's the right program for you, or maybe there's something else. But dedicated closes on Wednesday. So Tuesday night, roughly, if you're on the other side of the world. Okay, so just scrolling through the comments. Does anyone have any specific questions they would like to ask before I jump off? Pauline says you usually wouldn't have understood that when you were in your turning point. Yeah, when you're in one of these huge big shifts and timeline convergence and trauma surfacing, it feels like you're losing your mind. It feels like everything you've done is pointless. All your biggest fears, hurts, pains are like at the forefront and you just feel like you're losing it. Like, do you know what I mean? This is where a lot of people go and check themselves into mental hospital. No, you fucking know how to deal with this stuff and like do the traumas. And this is where I teach and trust intuition. I teach you how to do this. Like, I'm a healer, I heal you, I shift you, I transform your life, but I'm teaching you what to do. I'm not like, come and see me, I'm like the guru healer and I'll fix your life. I have a powerful effect on helping you shift, for sure. There's no doubt about that, right? But I teach you what to do as I'm healing you, yeah? Because I'm a person who wants you to be able to heal yourself and the world. Not just like, everybody come to me. Like, it doesn't work like that. Stay away from people who say that, by the way. Well, it's a red flag in my book. Because the thing is that everybody can heal themselves. The reality is that I can't actually heal anyone because you actually have to do the work. You have to be willing to be healed, right? I can teach you all the tools under the sun, but if you don't want to be healed, whole nother story, right? Whole nother story. So yeah, it doesn't feel like it when you're in the biggest breakdown that you're about to have a breakthrough because you actually want to leave. Like, it's worse, right? But the thing is that, you know, when you actually, you know what's surfacing, and this is what I teach, you know, as I'm healing you and guiding you, I teach you because that's how we shift the world, right? That's the epitome of shadow work. We transform the world by transforming ourselves. But I teach you how to fish, how to go fishing and catch your own food so that you can do that for life. I'm not going to be like, oh, here, I'll catch another fish for you. Oh, I'll catch another fish for you. Like, freaking everybody would be burnt out, right? I teach you how to catch your own fish so you can feed yourself for life. I teach you how to heal so you can heal yourself for life. Now, everybody needs guidance and mentors for periods of time, for sure, right? Even I still do that, right? Everyone should be doing that, right? Not like, oh, I'm healed and I know it all. Like, red flag, stay away. But when we can learn the tools with a mentor, and then we can go and do it ourselves and we're good until this next big timeline conversion points comes up. And then we're like, I need some help for this. And we learn more advanced tools and then we can keep going. That's how it works. Yeah? That's how it works. Sophia says, I'm so excited. I took this step. There's so much I need to learn on Kajabi. Yep, 100%. There's so much content. Yeah? All right. I love you guys. I'll see you soon.